Okay, our next topic is management by objectives, also known as MBO. I found a pretty good little definition of management by objectives. A model that aims to improve performance of an organization by clearly defining objectives that are agreed to by both management and employees. If the employee hits the goal or the objective, they get a reward. So the question here is whether all of this management by objectives is it good or is it bad? Well, if you go from a directive style of management where the employee is told what to do, you must do this, you must do that, to management by objectives, which is more participative in a way where the objectives are agreed to by management and the employees. So the employee actually has a say in what's going to go on, what they're going to agree to do over the next week or month or quarter. So the steps, boiled down version of management by objectives, the steps are we explain the situation to the employee, such as we need productivity to go up, or we need to hit our sales quotas, and our sales quotas are going to go up because our margins are down or something like that. So we explain the situation to the employee. That's all good, right? We say, hey, we got competition out there. We need to survive. Our margins are going down, so our sales need to go up. That's all good. Then we get the employee to agree to objectives or goals. Well, let's take this scenario. Let's say the employee has been doing 100 units per shift, and now we're going to ask them, since maybe the raw materials went up in price or something, we need to make 120. So the pitch is 120 units. So then we go to the employee and we say, I know you've been doing 100 units. We really need to do this in order to achieve our corporate goals. We need to have you make 120 units. Well, this gives the employee the opportunity to agree to the objectives. At least they have a voice in the situation. Say the employee says, 120, I don't know about that. Some days I can barely do 100. But I tell you what, if we could organize this a little bit better, I think I can agree to 110. So the employee has had input, they agree, management says, okay, for starters, we'll go with 110. And the employee, having been a participant in the goal, now feels better about the goal or the objective. And they say, you know what, I promised 110. They wanted me to do 120, but I'm going to really try to do 110. So they have agreed, and they're on board, they're engaged, and so the day goes. Well, management will monitor the situation and see how things are going. That's also good. That's good. And then we'll get the results. We get the results and reward the employee if the objectives are met. So all of this sounds great. And when I first was going through the management stuff after being out of college for quite some time, I said, MBO sounds great. It really does sound good. But we have problems. MBO, as much as it's good on a basis of participative management, we do have problems. Because anytime you're talking about units, we're talking about production here, paper something. We're talking about quantity. So the problem is we have quantity or quantitative goals and objectives. And it doesn't say quality. Now, even if management said, I need you to do 110 quality products, quality units, it's still the focus is on the quantity. So from a total quality management perspective, this is very, very flawed. It is not going to help the company improve in performance because the employee is under pressure to hit the quantitative goal, not a quality goal, right? So, and in this, there's no real, there might be some wiggle room for excuses, but the employee has agreed to 110. Now you think about the pressure, and it's, let's say that's 110 units per day, and it's 4:30, and the employee has only done 95. Well, that means he or she would have to, double up on the next day to hit the average overtime 110 units. So what would the employee do? Well, they're under pressure. So it would just be natural for them to maybe cheat. Now, this isn't about, I'm not saying I'm taking a theory X approach here. I'm just saying it's natural human tendencies. They're under pressure to hit the target. They don't want to fail. They don't want to let others down and disappoint others. And they don't want to be shamed when they say, well, we didn't meet our production quota because of so-and-so. So therefore, there's a tendency for the employee to cheat the system, and you can't blame them. There's also a tendency or a possibility for the employee to give fuzzy numbers, meaning the 110 might be all boxed up and ready to go, but there's 20 of them are missing a couple of screws. So the focus is on quantity, not quality, and that's a problem. Another thing that it doesn't factor in is the 96-4 rule from Deming, where Deming says 96% of the time, if problems occur in the system, it's 96% of the time it's due to management. 4% of the time it's due to employees. So if we think about that, these are the external factors that we keep talking about, and these are the internal factors from the employee, and this is management and the system. And you say, well, how can that be? Well, external factors are the culture. I'll put pressure up here too. What about the supplies? Management controls the supplies, the materials, the equipment used. What if the employee suffers a breakdown, or they can't get the supplies that they need because another employee is behind? So this would all cause problems. So it would be a fallacy to hold the employee fully accountable for the 110 units when all of these things are going on. Maybe the equipment doesn't work, supplies or materials are faulty or late. That could be a problem. Now, let's change the scenario from 100 units made to 100 units sold. So then we look at a salesperson, and a salesperson is often under commissions and bonuses. And when you look at that, it's not very fair to the salesperson, because what is the salesperson in control of? If they've been selling 100 units, now they have to sell 110 units. But the salesperson's not in control of the situation for the most part, outside of being a good salesperson that goes to companies or customers and says, how would you like this? This is the benefit of our product. The salesperson has no control over the economy, really no control over in demand. If the person doesn't need it or want it, that's not the salesperson's fault. Competition. What if they're in competition and the competition is better on quality and better on price? That's not the salesperson's problem. They're not in charge of designing products, production of products, pricing. They're not in charge of product quality or pricing. So, as you can see with a salesperson, imagine having to be a salesperson for that canned mackerel, you know, a can of fish. Nasty fish. Okay, don't you want my fish? We don't want fish. Well, it's not my fault. Take it anyway. Well, nobody's gonna buy it. Well, put it on the shelf anyway. Come on, that's not gonna work. It's not the salesperson's fault. So, MBO, management by objectives, is trying to improve the performance of the company, but to blame everything on the employee is not right. And the employee, being under pressure, is probably going to cave in and do something to manipulate the system so they don't get the blame. It sounds nice at first, but not so good after we've thought about it.